Hello guys, today I'm going to show you how to set up Vscode for use with C and C++ programming. Okay, and this is specifically for those using a Windows PC. So first you go to your browser and search Vscode download, then choose a link specific to your OS and click it to download the setup file. So let's go ahead and do that. So go to your Chrome or Firefox or Opera Mini and look for the Google search bar, then just simply type Vscode download, and the first link that usually shows up is the right link to follow. It's the official link. You should have a big bold word that says download Vscode, and you're going to choose the link that says Windows. So just go ahead and click it, and as soon as you do, the download will start instantly. Okay, so as soon as your download is complete, go ahead and check the downloads folder for the setup file that you've just downloaded, then launch it, and follow the steps that appear in order to install Vscode. So go and check your downloads, and you find an icon like this one. The setup file has this icon, so just double tap it and just follow the instructions. So usually you have to first accept the user agreement in order to proceed. So every other thing is you just need to click next, and okay, just go ahead and click next. Create a desktop icon, click next and install. It should take about 30 seconds to install, and we'll go ahead and look at the next step. Okay, so as soon as it's done installing, so when this installation is done, you see this message with a checked option to launch Visual Studio Code. So you can go ahead and launch it. And for some people you will be able to see, because I have some older settings here, so you'll be able to see an option. If it's your first time installing it, there will be an option which theme you want to choose. So you can go ahead and choose either the light theme, okay, there's that light theme, or the dark theme, but I usually go for the dark theme, so I'll switch back to the dark theme. Which is this one over here. Okay, so you can minimize that for now. So the next step, we are going to download. There's a link in the description for a zipped file that contains the main GW compiler. Okay, so that should be compiler over there. So a compiler is necessary for when we want the code to compile into a binary file that is the actual program, because the code itself is useless without the compiler. It's just piece of information, just piece of it's like a text document, unless we compile it into a usable program. So that's what a compiler does. And so Vscode on its own is just a code editor. Just create a file and you type something, but it's useless if you don't have a compiler for that. Also, the other thing is Vscode can be used for almost every popular program that you want to use to create an application. You can use Vscode. So things like Python, Java, of course C++, so all those ones can be done. You can write codes of such languages using Vscode, but for us, we'll be using it for C and C++. So we need a C and C++ compiler. So there's one example called MinGW, short for minimalistic GNU for Windows. There are a lot of other compilers you can use, but I find this one easier to work with. And I've already downloaded the files and I've made them into a zip file, so you don't need to. Of course, you can look for the variants on the official website. You can just type min GW compiler, C compiler, something like that, and Google. But the files are usually tricky to know which files you need and which files you don't need. But I've already done that for you, and they're already in a zipped file folder. Folder. So you just need to download it and put them on your PC. Download and unzip them, then put them in your PC. So that's what you're going to do. So this is the file. Just check out the link to my Google Drive and download this zipped folder. So just go ahead and extract it. Choose this option, just extract here, and the files will extract into a folder with the same name. And inside you should be able to see these folder: bin, include, lib, and so on. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's go ahead and move this folder to the C directory of the PC. C is usually the one that has your window installation files. So just move it to the root of C. Okay. So just check for C, not any other letter, just C. So I'm going to just simply cut and go to the C directory, then paste. Okay, there I have it. So the next step should be to we've done for unzip. So you need to have WinRAR installed, otherwise you might not be able to unzip it. So you need to unzip it using WinRAR. So we've already done that. Now copy, navigate to the bin folder, then copy the path, okay, for which we'll need to use in the next step. So let's go ahead and open this, then go to the bin, then just simply click here, and the path is just C : /min/gw/bin. So just go ahead and copy the path, and you can close this. You don't need it anymore, just close it. So the next step is to open Windows Start menu and type environment variables, and you should be able to see this: edit system environment variables, and then choose environment variables. Then we are going to look for a path, and then for a path, then we paste the path that we just copied. So we're going to edit the path basically for the system environment variables or user environment variables. So go ahead and go to your start, simply clicking there. Just go to your start, just type environment, and you should be able to see this: edit the system environment variables. And when you click the link, it should open this window. So just choose this option, environment variables. And so for those of you who are using Windows 10, you need to check the path under system variables. So check path under system variables for those that are using Windows 10, and for those that are using Windows 11, check the path under user variables. So just click it and then click edit. So what we are going to do is we are going to add another path. Okay, we're just adding another path, that is the one we copied earlier. So click new and just simply paste it there and click OK. So if you're using Windows 10, you click here and edit, of course. Then of course you go to new and you should be able to paste it there, right? So when you are done with that, simply click OK to close everything up. Okay, so yeah, when you start programming, you will learn about why I had to add a path there, and that's usually how they are necessary during the compilation process. So we need to add the path to the bin folder, because that's where most of the files we need are. And you get to learn that when you do some more programming. So now we're going to the next step is to add these extensions. There's C, C++ extension and the code runner extension. Then yeah, that is step 6. So let's go to Vscode and look for this extensions tab, because there's Explorer, then there's search, there's source control, run and debug. The extensions tab is the last one here, so go ahead and click it. Okay, so once you've clicked the extensions tab, let me drag this out so that we see those extensions. So you're going to look for these extensions. Simply type C, C++, and yeah, don't look for these other ones, just look for the one with the purple and white, the icon that has purple and white, and it should have the caption C, C++, IntelliSense. Yeah, you don't need themes, you don't need extensions, you just need this one. So just go ahead and click it and install it. Okay, you should be able to see the install button there. Mine is fortunately already installed. So once that is done, go ahead and type code runner like that, and look for this one, the one with the yellow icon, a dot and run. There's a dot and word run. So go ahead and also install it. Mine were already installed in the previous settings. So just simply install when you're done. Okay, you are done with that part. So now what you want to do is to go into settings. Okay, so you go into settings, and the first thing you want to do is you want to configure code runner. I'm sure that is the last step. Configure code runner extension so that you'll be able to run the code in terminal, so that your code can run in the terminals tab. Okay, so I'll show you where the terminals tab is once we create a file and try to run it. So we want the code to run under the terminals tab, and then the other setting is to make the code save automatically. So you should be able to navigate to the settings by clicking here, that wheel, the gear wheel, and then look for settings. Then yeah, settings should open. So just simply type code run here, and these are all the settings associated with that code runner extension we've just installed. So you need to look for this option. By default it's not ticked. This is the only option we need, run run in terminal. So simply click it, and after you've clicked it, you should just save. Then the other step is auto save. just type autosave, and the default is this, so I need you to change it to after delay. So you can leave every other thing the way it is. So just after delay, that is 1000 milliseconds, so that is precisely 1 second. Your code will be able to auto save every after a second. As long as you've typed something new, it will save automatically. It's useful when you want to run the code. You don't always have to save and compile. Save and compile each time. So the autosave feature helps your code to save and compile in an instant, so you don't need to do that each time. So when that is also done, you can just go ahead and save for the last time and go ahead and close that. Okay. So now the settings are done. Maybe what would be 8 would be to create a C program, to test the settings, right? So that would be the step 8. Okay, so before we create that a C program, we need to first of all create a folder where we'll be saving the files, our program files. So usually I like to keep them close, so I would prefer you create a folder here on your desktop. So simply go to you all know how to create a folder, so create a new folder. You can call it anything you want. So this is what I'm calling mine, 23. Okay, so that's the folder where I will be saving all my program files associated with C and C++. So under here where you go to File Explorer, the first option you should see is open a folder. So we are going to open the folder that I've just created on my desktop. So I'll navigate here and look for desktop, then I'll look for that folder, which is that one. I'll select it, and now this is my workspace. So whichever file I create will be put under that folder. So in here I'll just click this icon that says new file. You can continually add folders within that folder if you want, but I'll just create a new file and I'll call it test, maybe test program. Okay, that's test program. Now I have to put .c if I want it to be a C program. Otherwise, if I don't put a .c, it's just a text file. So text program.c, and once I click enter, so now the workspace is open for me to create a new program, like to write some code. So the file has been created. Of course, you can check here. You will be able to see it. It should have a different icon, so let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so it should look something like that. So it should have an extension .c. So now that is a C program file. Now go ahead and I'm going to try and write a simple program. So I'll type this include okay, std.io.h, and okay, just a simple program. So the next thing will be int main and put a return 0. So here what I'm going to put is okay, I'm going to just print a message on the screen. So what I need is a simple function, a printf, and the message will be this is a simple program. Okay. So for the first time, I'll have to debug the file. That is for the very first time. You should be able to see that icon, so just simply debug, and the option that appears here that says gcc.exe something that, okay, and it should say detected task, and compiler is at this path, the one that we created. You see this c min gw bin /gcc.exe. Okay, so you should be able to see that. The reason you are seeing it is because we added it to the environment variables. So Vscode is able to detect it, and it should be able to detect it within the folder inside wherever our program is. So just go ahead and click debug. It should take a second. Okay, so the debug is done. Alright, the debug is done, and there's a file created. It has test.pro.exe. Okay, so for now that is not important. What is important is we need to debug first, so that the compiler knows where to look for, where to attach or to link the files that we need to make the program. So that is only once, but after that you no longer need to debug all future files, C files that you're going to create. So simply click run file, and okay, so if you run into any errors like what you've just seen, simply close Vscode and then relaunch it. Okay, so that error should not appear again, because we've done everything right. So now close it and relaunch it, and yeah, so give it a second. Now we should be able to run it. Okay, alright, so this time around just run the code. You don't need to debug, but run. Okay, so once you run the code, you should be able to see the message that you put here. This is a simple program, so that message should appear here, and it appears in the terminals tab. So that is the setting that we put with code runner. Once we check that part that says run under terminal, if you remember where it was, let me just refresh your mind. So there's a setting that we made. It was somewhere here, run under terminal, run in terminal, something like that. Well, I can't see it, it's here. Here, this one. Okay. So run in terminal. So whatever we'll be working on here, if we click the run button, it should be able to appear here. Otherwise, if we don't have that setting, then we don't really see what is happening to the program. It will be misbehaving. It will be coming out under output, but we want it to run under terminal for reasons that you get to learn later on. Okay, so that is it. We've set up Vscode to work, to be able to use it to write C programs. So you can write C or C++ programs, but in this case we are mostly interested in C programs.